Cool. Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to the SIG Autoscaling call for Monday, the 26th February 2024. There's a few items already on the agenda. Sorry, just put my screens around. Yeah, as discussed last week, stuck in a recurring item to look at test grid failures. We have a couple at the moment. VPA and Carpenter all looking good. Cluster Autoscaler, there are currently 3 failing, and there's 2 failing on the Autoscaling HPA. DIMS has specifically called out a couple of the Cluster Autoscaler ones to be prioritized for some attention. And who's looking, I didn't have the chance to sort of look into much yet, but I don't know. Do you know, Kuba, if there's any bandwidth on the Google side to have a look? And one, I think at least one of them's, yeah, both are GC related, I think.
So we're talking about the end-to-end tests, right?
Yes.
There's nothing prior, but we have noticed them sort of independently failing, and I'm not sure how much bandwidth I will have to look into them, because I have something time critical for the Carpenter, like integrating us with Carpenter, but I'll be focusing much more on open source issues right now, so it definitely falls into my wheelhouse and I will take a look, but I'm not sure how much of this work to actually make them green again I'll be able to tackle in the next reasonable time frame. But I can definitely summarize the current state and figure out what needs to happen to make them stable again.
Okay, cool. Do you think you're able to summarize it to the point where someone else would be able to pick it up potentially and make a start off the back of that?
Yeah, okay, something cut off. I'm not sure about this week, but definitely next week I'll open some issue and try to sum things up. Okay, does that sound cool.
Okay? Yeah, I guess I'll try and find some time to have a dig in this week and make myself a bit more familiar. But I'll update them so that we are going to have a look at it in the next couple of weeks, prioritizing it. Cool, thanks. Jeff, I think he said he was hopefully going to be able to make this week, but I don't think he is here. And yeah, so he's stuck a message in the SIG Autoscaling Slack channel related to the same thing on Wednesday. If anyone wants to have a look at that, but for now I'll leave that into in the agenda for when he's actually able to make a meeting. Suraj. Is not on the call. In that case, Jack.
Yeah, I have a few PRs in the Azure Cluster Provider section of Cluster Autoscaler, and there's no way to end-to-end test those as part of CI now. And I was wondering if it would be possible, welcome, controversial, if I set up some test infra jobs that point to just the Azure Cloud Provider as triggers and run some tests that are sourced from the Cluster API CapZ repository, where we have some autoscaling scenarios wired in. So that way we can get test gate and signal on PRs that touch only the Cloud Provider Azure directory. Is that something I can do just by opening up some test infra PRs and tagging you, Guy, or some other folks?
I'm not fully certain. I'm happy to figure out what the process is and approve whatever I need to.
Cool. I'll go ahead and drive that, and hopefully it won't be too annoying for you. Thanks.
Awesome. worries. Thanks for doing the work. Sounds like a good path.
Or, sorry, for like end-to-end tests in general, there's always the consideration if you really want to run this on each and every PR, or if you want some okay to test label by some maintainers being attached to it first, depending on how you're judging the risk of arbitrary binary data being executed in your test clusters, right? So like people might PR arbitrary things and then run it on your test infra. Yeah, that's some consideration here, I guess.
Yeah, thanks for calling that out, Marco. I'm actually really familiar with all this from testing CapZ and the cloud provider and upstream Kubernetes.
Okay.
And happy to do whatever the idiom is for cluster autoscaler.
Yeah, I don't actually know, but yeah.
But I think the first thing is probably to create a new test infra config bucket and assign some owners which correlate to the owners in the cloud provider Azure cluster autoscaler. So yeah,
So
I think
we definitely have some infrastructure in place already. I'm not sure how much of it will be reused because of the different cloud provider underneath. I'm not sure where the jobs will run and all of that. But we definitely have a test grid already. We have the job definitions. We have some test code already in the Kubernetes main repo. I can provide you with links to all of that. But as mentioned before, the GC tests have not been essentially maintained for years now and are in a very poor state. So I'm not sure about like the full extent of the config, but there are definitely like some starting points. It's not starting from scratch.
Yeah, well, I actually I'm going to be skipping that whole thing and running the tests from CapZ. So CapZ itself has an end-to-end test framework. So it was
Okay.
easier for me to scaffold these tests using Cluster API and CapZ.
Okay. In that case,
but long term, if there's an effort to clean up and revive those GCE tests and then end-to-end tests generally, I'd be happy to pitch in. But
I think there will be. Yeah, I think there will be.
Cool.
But
Yeah.
it's a separate thing than disregard, sir.
Cool.
Awesome, thanks. That's all we had on the agenda for this week. Is there anything else anyone wants to raise? I shall take silence as a no. In which case, thanks very much everyone for attending.
Thank you.
See you next week.
See you.
You.